Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is War 11 of Season 41 and we're up against 1NG today. This is a win and we're in Masters, guaranteed kind of war, so it's a big one for us to win. Today I have Nimrod, Diablo and Valkyrie. This is a newly ranked 5 Valkyrie, so I'm pretty excited to use her in war. And today we're starting on Path 8. And then going into Path 9 on Section 2. So we start off with this Sersi, and then we've got Weapon X, then Jessica, and then the Punisher 2099 on Boss Island. So starting off with this Sersi, I kind of just want to use this to really make the point on going into fights with plans. When I go into this fight, I know exactly the stages of what I want to do to be able to take the fight safely. Like, I know that I want to take 4 or 5 blocked hits, bait out a heavy, hit her once or twice, and then back off. That gives her, however many flourish buffs, but it also triggers her glancing and then a couple of regen buffs. And the reason that I'm going to back off is because I don't want to hit her glance and throw the special, because if I throw the special while hitting her, that hit can glance, and my Fate Seal will fail, and I won't be able to nullify all the buffs, get to my SP3. So I want to let her get loads of buffs so that I can just use my L1, trigger my the global tactic, and then get straight to SP3. When you go into a fight knowing exactly the stages of what you're going to be doing, it really cuts down on room for error. I mean, you do still need to be able to adapt if something starts to go wrong, but as long as you know what you need to do to get on track and get the fight down safely, that's the important thing. So we'll go into this fight now and see if it goes to plan. So we'll start off by holding block, trying to bait out a few blocked hits. She goes for 3, then 4, then 5, 6, perfect. Go in, tap her, and then dash back, throw my L1 so it doesn't glance, right up to L3, and we can throw that pretty safely. This node does give her more attack when she gets a few buffs, but as you can see, it didn't do too much block damage overall. You just need to not panic if you see your health start going down a little. Diablo can heal up, and that's what potions are for anyway. So these poisons are ticking her down very fast. We've definitely got the range to take her down, so I just back off, let myself heal up a little bit, and we get back to 100% health, and she ticks out. So with this next fight, Nimrod versus Weapon X, again, I know exactly the plan that I'm going to be going for. I'm going to be parrying during the shock phase, which is the first one, and just letting my armor ups build. And then as soon as we get into the bleed phase, I'm going to parry, hit him. Even though there's one eye open, I'm going to take a little bit of damage back, but I feel it's a much better idea than risking an intercept and taking a full combo. Then we're going to build our way up to the L2. I've got power start 1, so we're already halfway there. Build up to my L2 and throw it before he's even gone into Berserk, hopefully. So starting off these close parries, just building my arms very quickly. Already up to 12, that's perfect. 14, hit him once when he's in the bleed phase, go for an intercept. We get to the L2, he's not even in Berserk yet. This one sends him there, but also absolutely deletes him. So again, that was exactly to plan. If something had started going wrong, I'd have had to adapt, but it went pretty well. So, the rank 5 Valk fight. I was pretty stressed about this one because the whole issue with Jess as a defender is that her AI is a little bit more aggressive than other champions. And that makes this fight just a struggle for space in the arena. You don't want to get cornered because she'll get very aggressive, throw a lot of heavies, keep your pin there. It means that you've really got to be sure when she's dashing back and holding block, because another thing is she's very twitchy on block. A lot of the time she will make you think that she's going to be blocking, and then she just lets go, dashes at you, dashes back and sidesteps you, so you have to be really ready for that sort of thing. You also need a game plan if you are going to get cornered. So what I'm thinking here is that if I end up getting cornered at some point, I'm just going to parry heavy. I'm going to risk taking some debuffs, I'm going to risk losing my ramp up, but the main thing is that I only need one pierce buff to counter her unstoppable, and the intimidate debuff that I apply from a heavy will make her back off, or should make her back off. It's not the best thing to happen, losing your ramp like that, but it's much better than getting pinned in the corner and dying because of it. And the last thing that I have in mind going to this fight is that because I'm Power Star 1ing, I've got halfway to my L2 already. I'm going to get there just about over 30 combo, something like that. Because Valkyrie gets just over 1% of max power every time she hits into the block. That means obviously about 30 hits for a bar of power. Against Jessica though, you don't want to be above 2 bars of power for too long, because the longer you stay there, the more investigation she gets and the more annoying she gets as a defender. She'll start going unblockable, she'll be unstoppable the whole time. Obviously Val counters that, but she gets more resistance, she gets tons of stuff that you just don't want to be dealing with. So ideally you want to be throwing that L2 as soon as possible. But another thing to watch out for is that you don't want Jessica to have a bar of power or close to it when you throw your L2. So personally, I would prefer her to be lower power and spend a bit more time at 2 bars myself. So if I was at 2 bars and she was at 1, I would bait the special first, because if I throw my L2 and get a load of weaknesses on me because of her investigation, my L2 won't do too much damage, so I'm going to be relying on that combo after the L2. And if she has a bar of power, she's going to throw it, she's going to waste the duration of your Fury, and then you are not stuck, but you've lost out on a lot of damage there. So I would much rather her be a little bit more annoying, but it means that I can guarantee her with no power at the end of my L2, and I can go in for a big combo. So we'll go into the fight and see how it all plays out. So I'll start off by dashing back, making sure she's holding block. Here we dash back and she does that little stutter with her block, like I said, and tries to sidestep me. With hazard shift, you can hit her because it won't do too much damage, but obviously you don't want to be aiming to hit her. It's just if it happens by accident, it's not going to kill you, but it will add up over time, so try and avoid it. Here it's looking like it's pretty good in terms of both of our power. She can throw this L1 before I get to 2 bars, so investigation isn't building, and it means that I'm going to have my L2 when she has very low power, and I'm not going to spend much time at 2 bars of power and trigger much of her investigation. We throw this and 4 weaknesses triggered, that's fine. She holds block very nicely here and again, and this combo with the Fury is just absolutely melting her. It looks like a very safe fight, but having done duels practicing for this one, I did 8 or 9 and I got cornered in 3 or 4 of them. So her AI is very, very punishing. You really need to be on guard for anything she can throw at you. One quick tip is just to practice the dex of her L1 when you're close. I think a lot of us like to be safe and dash back all the way across the screen, so you've got more time to deal with it. But against Jessica, because the fight is all about space in the arena, it's really worth knowing how to dex it when you're stood right next to her, because that can save you. It saved me in some of the duels. But overall, I'm definitely glad that this one went smoothly. Rank 5 debut and rank 5 impresses. So we'll move on to this Punisher. It's a similar game plan to the Sersi with Diablo, but one thing that you've got to watch out for here is that Punisher's signature ability will power drain you and power lock you when you get to 3 bars of power for the first time in the fight. So that's one thing to watch out for. I'm still going to do the same thing because, it gets me there quick. But it's just something to watch out for, and make sure that you don't think that you're going to throw L3 but accidentally throw L2 because you've just been power drained. So we're starting off by taking a few hits on the block, same as before with Sersi. But one thing that I do here is muscle memory. Maybe from Valk, I dash in and hit him on the block, and that removes all of the subdue buffs. So we're stuck a little bit in the corner here. It's not as bad against Jessica because I can actually hit him, but at this point, my subdue neutralizers are triggering, so he's not getting any of the flourish buffs when I block. So I'm just going to change my game plan up and make sure that I get to my L3 by just normal comboing. Without the flourish, because of my attack tactic, he's not that dangerous, but if things start to drop off, you really do need to watch out for the flourish building up. So we're almost at our first L3 here, but again, the power drain triggers and I'm power locked for a little bit. So I'm just going to wait this out a little bit. I'm going to bait another special. Here he throws it without the neutralize, which is actually perfect because I can just dash back, throw my L2, nullify all the buffs, and then we're right back to L3. And one thing that I could have done was just take a few blocked hits first and let him build some flourish. Then after the L3, I would have come out with more power and being able to pause it a lot easier. But because the fight had started to go a little bit wrong, I just was, I guess, a little bit rushing to get it over with. Luckily, we just about look like we're having the range to take him down with these poisons. One thing I needed to have my eye on here was that he didn't have enough battery to trigger his regen buff, which would have made him go unblockable. That's why I was holding block just in case he did. But luckily, the poison's just about finished with him on a couple % life, leaving us able to double medium him, and he drops. So this was a pretty good war for me. A few hard fights, a few fights that could have gone wrong, but I'm glad that Valk and the team pulled through. At this point in the war, I think we were 6-6, so it was pretty close. And these fights that you can see here were the last ones for our whole alliance, and we managed to solo the rest of them. And then by the end of the war, 1NG had dropped another couple, and we win this one 6-8. So this is my official first Masters title. We have made Masters, which is fantastic. I'm really, really happy. And it leaves us with the final war of the season. If we win it, we will finish top 10. But if we lose, then we are still in Masters, which is the top 20. So overall, really happy with the season. And I'm looking forward to the final one to round it all out. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.